somebody's probably done this. I just haven't seen this. I'd love to see somebody do like a really forensic video of all the audience reactions to every joke to see who's like uncomfortable and who
Tom
wasn't.
Hanks was the best.
Tom Hanks looked like he was going to swallow the bottom half of his head.
Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast, recorded live in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Sometimes, late at night, after a long day of work, you drink 3 G&Ts and you make the nastiest breakfast club. And some nights, you rearrange your room. And some nights, when the moon's just right, you do both. And well, boys, last night, I did both. It was the best. I love not being on night shift anymore, graveyard shift, because I can drink after work, and boy, I get rowdy.
Oh, so your schedule has changed, totally changed up.
Yes.
You used to work overnight. You went in, you started working at like 11, you got off
At
early
7.
in the morning.
And everyone kept telling me, you can drink at 9 in the morning.
I can't.
Can you? I didn't want to. But now that I work, I'm back on 3 to 11s, and I don't do graveyard anymore. I get off work at 11 o'clock, go home.
You still have a little bit of fun after work.
Mix up a little G&T. Oh, we'll get into the fun we had last night. But the other night, I got off work, mixed up a G&T, and was like, man, I'm fucking hungry. And I found like bread, bacon, eggs, tomato, and cheese in my fridge, and I was like, oh, I'm making a club. And I sat there for 30 minutes listening to a podcast. I chugged a gin and tonic, made the sandwich, poured another one, ate the sandwich, and then went upstairs and was like, I'm going to rearrange my whole room, went through all my old mail, started ripping up like old like credit card not bills, but like they're like, hey, sign up for this credit card. Rip those up, threw them away. I have a bag in my room that's like filled with envelopes, and I'm like, how
like fucking junk mail.
Yeah. I woke up the next morning and was like, what happened? Like, I didn't remember rearranging my room, but I did a great job. And then I found 3 iTunes gift cards or Apple gift cards on my desk. And I was like, what the fuck? And I read the paper, and it was like, thanks for signing up with Barclay and purchasing your laptop. Here's some like reward gift cards. I got $75 worth of gift cards that I went and bought a really nice Apple mouse that works like a touchpad. Yeah. For doing Final Cut Pro a little more fine-tuned.
Fucking A. You wake up and you're like, I fucking alphabetized all the groceries. What happened last night?
I woke up and was like, I've been more productive drunk last night than I've ever been in the last month.
A whole new definition for functioning alcoholic.
That's right. And let's pause and tell our guests who we've got.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast.
Yeah, by the way, this is Beacon House. And that third sexy voice that you're hearing is our homie, our brother from another mother.
Oh, he's back.
He is our fucking hero. Brandon Hudson is here tonight, whenever you listen to this.
Hello.
Fuck you. And he is sitting in. We're missing somebody today.
Who are we missing? All right, there we go.
Okay.
Thanks, Hunter. Appreciate that.
So the our third part of the trifecta today will be filled by Brandon Hudson, and we had and we're just now getting back together, guys. The 3 of us had a little evening.
We had a fucking night last night.
We hung out a little bit. I didn't think it was that crazy.
We made quick work of it, too. It started at 11.
Yeah.
Got a late start.
Yeah, but it ended at 5 a.m.
Got a late start and had a good hang. Oh, yeah, because there was a
war zone going on by the Market Square garage where I parked my car, where apparently somebody did a desk pop 20 times in the street.
Yeah. So we're kind of ending the night. We got a late start. We decided to go out, have a couple drinks, have a hang, have a little bro hang. And we went around, saw a couple of our friends, and we kind of started downtown, and we made our way over eventually to Scruffy. We saw our homie Shauna. And then
Dave Spears as well.
Dave Spears and Nathan and everybody. Yeah, like everybody's, I don't know. They treat us way better than we deserve. But maybe not you. Maybe Brandon deserves to be treated like a rock star, not us. But fucking,
I'm just one of the boys.
We wish. Thank you for that.
I appreciate you letting me be in your inner circle.
This
is a special day for me.
Stop it.
Legitimize us by saying that. But so all of a sudden there's red and blue lights everywhere, and there's like a million cops at Market Square, and apparently someone's firing
everywhere.
And
I had Gay Street shut down too.
You noticed because you were going to leave. You're like, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and dip out. I got a long drive, and then you came back. You go, it's fucking crazy out there.
Well, I saw lights through the window at Scruffy, and I was like, oh, cool. Maybe bum fight, something like that, like something cool to watch. It's 3 a.m. and it's like, what bum fight? And I walk out, and like, there's just cop cars and police officers everywhere.
And you're like, oh, cop fight.
Yeah.
Cripple fight! Guys, there's two cripples fighting each other.
Casey, no.
Guys, there's two cripple homeless guys. It's a trifecta. Come look.
Dude, I've seen them slug it out before, man. It's a show,
They're
man. It's
going,
front row.
they're going after it for a half-eaten meatball sub.
You're a heartless bastard, Casey. But so yeah, of all the fun things you might see downtown, Brandon goes outside only to find out none of those things are happening. In fact, and there's just a bunch of cops everywhere shutting the roads down. This is 3:33 a.m., 3:30.
And they had people stopped up against the wall too, like people walking to and from the
So
square
I didn't
garage.
know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, like there was a bunch of people.
When
that
there's
were
a
out in the
shooting,
square.
people usually get stopped.
Yeah,
But what's crazy is there's nobody. We haven't been able to find any news about it. Or
I'll look
anything
again
today.
while you guys talk about it. Hold
Dude,
on.
and it happened right there at the entrance. I guess where the ticket booth is.
Right.
I don't understand how we didn't hear the gunfire.
Yeah, that's a.
We were singing Butch Walker at the top of our
Oh, yeah,
lungs.
that's right.
Ooh, definitely the best reason not
We
to
were
hear gun-
killing it.
Tweaking on day old coffee and singing Butch Walker tunes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh, and yeah. By the way, public service announcement: bars have coffee.
Yeah.
So, like at the end of the night, if you're like getting your tab or whatever like that, and you want to make sure a little pep in your step for the ride home or something, get a coffee. We had bar coffee, and it was nice. Nice to have a little bar coffee.
I need some coffee, so I'm drive home.
Yeah, dude. But which is just weird. I never thought about. I mean, I'm such a coffee addict. I drink coffee all the time, but I never thought about getting coffee at a bar. And then they go, yeah, we have coffee, you fucking idiot.
I typed in Market Square shooting, Knoxville, Tennessee. The first story that pulls up is boy 16 captured charged as third suspect in North Knoxville double homicide 1 week ago. There's nothing about the
Today.
shooting this morning at Market Square.
So maybe because there wasn't actually a shoot, like maybe nobody got shot, so there wasn't actually like a crime. Like,
Yeah, no. Somebody just got a little trigger happy, and they saw the concrete, and they're like, "Watch this!" Bah, 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 bah,
Is
bah,
it
bah,
a
bah.
crime? I feel stupid asking. Is it a crime to just fire off a gun in public?
Yeah.
So you can only shoot
100%.
a gun in certain designated places.
Shooting range out in the woods.
Pretty much.
Okay, like your property.
Like I know the city has a different ordinance than the county does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So I mean, like if you're in, like I live in Anderson County.
yeah.
I think
They don't give a shit if you set fire to your own house out in Anderson County. They don't care.
They're like, "Yeah, it's probably another meth lab."
They're like,
Fine.
they're like, we're 2 years away from being as fucking liberated as Texas.
Property value just went up.
They're like,
Like some bitch burned his own house down. Put it on us.
I heard he's having bum fights in his house though. So.
Bum fights. But fuck, okay, I guess so. You can't just go in the city and shoot a gun off like that.
No.
Okay. I feel like I should have known that, but I guess I've never needed to know
Like
that.
you
know?
can have a gun on you at downtown Knoxville, like a concealed carry permit.
Yeah.
So you can have a weapon on you. But to pull that weapon out and use it, you better be damn sure because the cops are going to be on top of you, even if you're like the hero who saved the day.
Right.
The cops are going to be all fucking over
because
you.
you've got a live weapon.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You're here to serve and protect, not give me a life lesson. Chop. Give me that ticket.
I don't know. I don't have too big of a
I
problem.
got a
with
bum
authority.
fight I got to get to.
I'm on my way to some bum fights. So if you could speed this up, please.
I heard Stubby and Nubs are going at it, so I want to see this. Hurry up.
You're awful.
I'm sorry. If you saw two bums fighting, one was missing a leg and the other one was missing an arm, and they were called Stubbs and Nubs,
I'd grab popcorn.
would you not watch that fight?
Yeah.
Here's a question: how would you know what they were called?
Oh no, I would make up their names for them.
Damn. Okay. Trying to
They're
be
like-
humanitarian about this, but
I'd be like, that's Stubbs and Nubs. He'd be like, well, actually, my name's Kevin and this is Dave. I'm like, shut up, Stubbs and Nubs.
Jesus Christ.
Go back to fighting.
Round two.
Yeah, round two. Chop chop.
Fuck, I don't.
I got a 20 on Nubs.
Stubbs and Nubs.
If you guys want to throw it, I'll split it 10 and 10.
So anyway, Brandon, what have you been up to? What have you been up to since we've done a ton of events? I mean, the last time you were on an episode was technically a long time ago, but we've done a ton of live events. You're always there with us at Central Depot whenever we do something, and I mean, you host the open mic night, and now let's go ahead and get everybody in on that. Let's give a big shout out to your open mic nights that you're doing, and you're doing every other one at Scruffy. Is that right? On Monday?
I'm doing every second and fourth Monday.
Okay.
And then Marcus Bunch from Cutthroat Shamrock. He's hosting the first, third, and if there's a fifth Monday,
Gotcha.
he's doing those.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
gotcha. So on the even numbered Mondays, you're going
Right.
to see Brandon Hudson, and then what was the guy's name? Marcus is going to be 1, 3, and 5. Go down there and check it out, dude. Hunter, our boy Hunter, he shows up to those more than he does the podcast.
Yeah.
Burn the City made an appearance not long ago.
That's true. We did
That
come
was
up and did a couple.
Pretty badass.
But yeah, go check it out, man. It's a good time. You never who you might see there. Like now that Casey gets off at 11, he might show up. He works right around the corner.
Maybe.
You know.
Mosey on over.
Mosey on over. Brandon will get you a
It's gonna
drink.
take me a week to recover from last night.
Come on. It wasn't that bad.
I don't drink much.
Well, you gotta
drank last
get your sea
night.
legs going, buddy.
And when I do drink, apparently I get very productive.
Well, like you said, you combined a lot of different liquids. You were telling us
I
about
did. I drank way too many different things. Like I started off with an imperial stout and then switched over to a lager, which you don't mix your beers like that.
No.
Then I went to a gin drink at the Peter Kern Library, which was actually on fire. Like I loved it.
Yeah, tasted fucking advanced. We had those.
And we also got an herbalist lesson from one of the guys at the bar.
Yeah.
About something about the rhubarb or something like that.
Oh, from only a certain part of the world.
Yeah, and it's like the foothills of the Indonesian mountains or some crap.
China.
And he's got a.
Oh, I felt so fancy.
I love that place. I love it.
You can only get to it if you're barefoot with a 50-pound rucksack.
And there's an ox.
Yeah, and then there's some kind of blood sacrifice you have to give to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you
Take
split
nubs
the
with
root
you.
open.
So, and then we went to Preservation Pub, saw Dave Spears, and then quickly walked over to say hi to Shauna for a second, and ended up staying there the rest of the night.
Well, and we
until
got
the
to
shooting.
see AJ Dave's brothers, his cousins, brothers. Aqueducts.
from Nashville.
Yes.
That was funky.
Yeah, they were
I
great.
think it was like, well, what kind of music? I guess funk. Would that?
I consider that jam band kind of funk stuff.
It was
you know?
awesome. Like I found myself even in a great buzz, almost drunken stupor, just being kind of like fucking moving around. I was like, God damn, this is good.
Yeah.
But then you bought us Screwball peanut butter
Yes.
whiskey shots, which
Oh, my God.
I got to go buy a bottle of that now because it was wonderful.
Dude, that was really
It's
good.
dangerous.
That was good.
It's
I'm
extremely
going to put
good.
that in my flask. Just carry that shit with me everywhere.
Heck, yeah.
Wow, what a cowboy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yippee-ki-yay, peanut butter motherfuckers.
I can't believe he said that. I can't.
So did that.
So yeah, I had a little night, saw a shooting, you know,
Well,
or
then
maybe
I
not
took-
a shooting. I don't know.
So I went,
Started in handshakes, ended in gunfire.
I went dark beer. I went
That's like
dark
an album.
beer.
That's a good name for an album.
Dark beer, light beer, gin, whiskey, which already again don't mix gin with whiskey. Probably not a great idea. And then I went to another beer, and then I ate a pub sub at some point, and I don't know exactly what was on that sandwich. I just started eating it and was like, oh, it tastes good.
There's a lot of bread here.
There's a lot of bread.
Before you ordered it, I was like, Casey, now hang on. Are you sure you want to do these shots? And you go, I'm about to eat so much fucking bread. I don't give a shit. And then the sandwich came and you go, this is an adequate amount of bread.
It was fucking tasty.
The
What
amount
can
of
I
bread
say?
on this sandwich did not disappoint.
Dude, you were out
You're
on
very
the
clinical about it.
out on
you
the
know?
patio, take a bite, wave it around, talk a little bit, take another bite. You're just like spreading your crumbs around. It was awesome.
I did know when we walked into Scruffy, the dude with the yellow hat was trying to stop us for something. I think that he's trying to stop us for money. And the moment I got my sandwich, he fucking hovered on me like a goddamn seagull. He was like right behind me at all times, being like, mine? And I just wanted to like take off a piece and throw it and see what he did. But I really needed all that bread because, like you guys said, it was an adequate amount of bread. So
Wasn't it? And you definitely got now. And again, Casey doesn't. Well, Casey's had a work schedule for a long time that basically prevents him from drinking. He would either have to drink right before he went to work, which is not an option, or he gets off work at 7 o'clock in the morning.
or drink on my days off. But usually on my days off, I'm just wanting to like relax and not.
Yeah, or you get an adult and do shit, you know. So
Yeah.
no, I get it. You don't really have that time after work. So yeah, so you have been drinking a lot, but you immediately got one of the things that I am always plagued with when you started feeling it. You started talking a lot of shit, and
I think that's your favorite of me, though. That's like your favorite thing.
well, because it's one of
for me
my
to
favorite
do.
things to do. I love being out with the guy, and you guys were so fucking funny last night, man. Like, I had one of these guys on either side of me, and I was just like, I was out of breath the whole night. You guys were saying so much funny shit, but Casey immediately got like, fuck that. Let's go to this place. I'll go here. We're going to drink this. I don't give a shit. I'll pick it up the next round. Like, you became like a knight in shining armor.
I do know we
You're
left.
like, I've discovered I'm evil Knievel, you guys.
I know we were on our way. We were about to leave Suttrie's, and you guys were, let's go to Pres Pub. And I was like, fuck you guys. We're going to Peter Kern Library for a round. I'm buying. And I think both of you just went, okay. Yeah, let's do that.
And it was nice. I haven't been to the library in a minute. So it was cool.
It
I've
is
only been
nice.
one
It's about-
time.
it's about to be remodeled.
Inside?
Maybe, possibly, allegedly.
Allegedly.
It's going to be looking. I mean, you already seen the lobby. The lobby's looking fantastic. Like with
Also,
the new-
we discovered a very hilarious Instagram account.
Scott West.
Oh my God.
Can we talk about it? Can we talk about it on here?
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to get mad, right? It's okay to think it's funny.
You know what? I'm sure Scott West listens to this podcast because it's real, like, scruffy. But let's go on and just talk about it anyways.
All I'm saying is like that. It's Brandon. I think you have the biggest backstory on it. Yes, no.
Well, I don't really know if I've got a backstory on it. See, I thought that it was actually Scott West shitting on himself.
Which I did too.
Yeah, I thought that he was just like making fun of himself and like adding some levity to how he's perceived. And
for anybody that doesn't know, Scott West is a business owner here in Knoxville who owns Scruffy City Hall, Preservation Pub, the Lost Tavern. What's the other one on the end?
Bernadette's Crystal Barroom and Tommy Trent's.
Yeah, so basically everything on that side of Market Square, Scott West owns, and he's got a whole bunch of different bars. And he himself is a very eclectic character. He's famously, and I'm not making any judgments or what. He's in a really good band with a super good friend of mine, Tom. I mean, those guys are great, and I've played at his bars my whole life. You know what I mean?
Me too.
And a bunch of my friends work there. And nothing against Scott West, okay? But he's a famously very strong personality, heavy drinker. Very outspoken, sometimes to a fault. So this Instagram account comes out. It's called, what is it? Scott by Scott
West,
which is making fun of South by Southwest.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the thing, his tag is SXSW.
And dude, at first I was like, oh man, Scott's got an angry Instagram account now, and it's kind of funny. And then we just started seeing and then I was like, whoa, this is really savage. Like they're taking shots at local band. They took a shot at 10 years. They took a shot. I mean, I was like, shit, this is getting pretty hard. Come to find out, it's not him.
Yeah, we have no idea who it is either. Now we think we know, but we're not sure.
I've heard some things. I don't know if I believe them.
I mean, there's a lot of different conjecture, but nobody has proof for sure who it is. But they just keep posting, which makes it so funny.
They're like the Batman of Instagram.
Yeah. So I would tell anybody that if you've had any experience going to any of these establishments or just living in Knoxville for a while, I feel like it makes fun of a lot of funny stereotypes of Knoxville.
Yeah.
And, dude.
I mean, if you didn't take it too seriously, you could laugh at it, unless you have no sense. If you can't laugh at yourself, then maybe you don't need to be looking at it.
Sure. Sure.
Because I think that it's incredibly clever. Some of the stuff on there is.
Well, we pulled it
I've
up.
laughed my ass off.
The memes are really well done.
We pulled it up at the bar, and we were all tickled pink. We had the giggle shits. It gave us the giggle shits.
I told you guys today before we started recording that I had the Donald Ducks when I woke up this morning.
Would you explain to the listeners what the Donald Duck is? If anybody's familiar with the sound Donald Duck makes.
I mean, it's just it's when you go to the bathroom and it's mud butt, but extreme mud butt, and just being like.
Sounds like Donald Duck.
Yeah, it sounds like Donald Duck. It's like sounds like a car back sounds like a car that won't start, and when it does, the exhaust pipe goes. It's the kind that after you're done, you have to go and just clean the bathroom, just the whole bathroom.
Not the toilet, the windows.
Yeah, you got to clean. You got to clean the toilet. You got to use the scrubby bubbles.
Toothbrush.
You got to get the scrubby bubbles. Get that real good foam in there. Let it sit for about 45 minutes before flushing, so it can get everything out.
Oh, inside the lawn.
So, kids, listen. Don't mix your alcohols. Don't do it. It's awful. It is the worst.
Go ahead and do it. Whatever. Get the Donald Duck.
Get the Donald Duck.
Oh my God, that's killing me. I think that might be the funniest.
It's like a call and response too. You can be like, "What's that butthole?" And it's like, you're like, "I know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that."
This is top 3 funniest moments on this podcast for me right now. Maybe number 1 when you said it was like a car backfiring, and you have to.
It's like it's like a jalopy going down the street.
Dude,
it's
oh man! Except it's just you, waking up.
It's just me bouncing all over my toilet seat, holding on for dear life.
Jesus Christ, it's killing me. How long do you think farts have been funny? I feel like
farts are always funny. Farts will never not be funny.
But I mean, do you think back in do you think there was ever a time when they were in caveman times? Where do you think cavemen were ever just ugh?
No, I think cavemen would fart, and then the other ones would crowd around his butt as some sort of deity. and be like, "Oh, his butt spoke."
I have a feeling that they got funnier once fire came up.
Dude, yes.
You know what I mean?
They figured that out.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, I got to fart. Get next to the fire."
Right.
Or do you think there was a time in our
They'd
evolution?
hold unlit torches next to the fire and his butthole to like light torches, like a flamethrower.
But were they experimenting with their farts to see if it did anything with the fire, or did somebody fall asleep in front of it accidentally?
Yeah, who's the first guy to light a fart?
Yeah.
How did that like? How that did one of the cavemen fart near the fire? Who egged the other one on to go up? And like, they weren't like, they didn't have clothes and stuff. Who got that close to a fire and farted? Come on. Or a torch. Who put a torch up? Was a caveman sleeping, farting a lot, and his friends held a torch up to his butt? How did this all go down? I want some science on this.
All right, I don't have that, but
Shut the fuck up, Casey. Also, do you feel like there was maybe a time in our evolution where our diet was so like lame? It was just like leaves and where we didn't really have bad gas. And then once we started to invent like processed food, it got super funny.
well, isn't that what your appendix is for?
What?
I thought your appendix in your body, like
To hold-
most
like,
of us don't
to
need
hold farts?
No. Most of us don't need our appendix, or no one needs the appendix in the human body anymore, because it
Right.
used to be the appendix was taking rocks and sticks and leaves and just pushing it out. So like the appendix would take things that do not belong in your intestines and fast track it out the butthole. Is that not what the appendix is for?
I thought it was like a second stomach or something. I don't know what the fuck. I know mine was cut out by a guy that was removing my spleen, and he cut it out because he was hitting his hand against it.
Just a guy?
Yeah, well,
Cut your,
He was just like, he was
this
like, all right,
dude.
yeah, it's like some.
Some random guy he met
Yeah.
behind
He
Press Pub,
bumped
cut
into
his
Spence. He
spleen
bumped-
out.
He bumped into Spencer. Was like, get your fucking appendix out of here.
what you guys don't know is I had an abnormally large appendix. It came all the way out like a saddlebag. It looked like I was wearing like a fanny pack, and it would just bump into people. So one night a guy got mad and just cut it off.
And then took your spleen for good measure.
Yeah, he's like, I'll show you. Good luck growing another appendix. No, it was a surgeon. But
Thanks for clarifying.
the guy literally said, "Hey, by the way, I cut the appendix out too because I kept bumping into it. No charge." Those are his exact words.
No charge. I mean, you don't need it. You don't need it at all.
Right.
Clearly.
So you want to talk about Rush?
Well, so Neil Peart died.
I want to talk about pooping and then go straight to Rush.
Is it Peart or Pert?
I always heard Pert.
I heard
Anyway,
somebody say the other day, Peart.
yeah, we'll just go. I feel like somebody that was an
P-Dog.
expert
NP.
corrected me and said Peart. So we'll say Neil Peart, the drummer for Rush. And he died. He passed away. And I just wanted to kind of say that guy was gigantic. Again, possibly the greatest rock drummer of all time. Maybe not in terms of. Man, I don't know how to count it. There's so many great drummers, and it's hard to. To me, he had this significance. Like Rush was a huge deal, and Rush was already kind of a big deal before I even really got into rock music, and they inspired a lot of the people that I was inspired by. Like Rush was already like their heroes, and they were everybody's hero because they played so incredibly. Like they played complicated shit and still got it on the radio somehow. That was a crazy thing. Rush was like the most complicated band that ever got popular. Anybody that was more outside the box than them didn't ever really get big, like kind of big, like Primus or King Crimson, or there was some band, Yes, kind of was like Rush back then. Yes and Rush were two of the most advanced groups of musicians ever got big on the radio.
Yeah.
And it couldn't have happened later, I don't think. I think by the time the 80s, they were dumbing everything down in the 80s real bad. I love the 80s, but they really dumbed everything down and it became formulaic. And prior to that, they just didn't really have the technology. Like there wasn't that much piss and vinegar in the 60s, I don't think. But right in the 70s or whenever Rush was like really, really firing on all cylinders, that's about the only time bands like that really had a chance to get that big. And this guy was absolutely at the forefront of musicality and everything, man. And it was just a huge fucking deal. But again, whether you like Rush or not, I mean, that's no big deal. But if you've never, I just want to say to whoever the listeners are, if you've never listened to him, and I'm sure you've heard Tom Sawyer, I'm sure you've heard Limelight, I'm sure you've heard Spirit of Radio. I mean, everybody's probably heard a Rush song somewhere if you weren't super, super into them. But a lot of musicians I know like studied them intensely. And it was definitely the first time I ever learned to play like odd meter. Like everything I'd listened to at that point was in 4.
the first time that I ever heard them, that's what I mean. Obviously, like Neil being the the drummer that he was, and then Geddy Lee, that signature vocal that he has.
Yeah.
But like they change their meter and they change in and out at different time and all this other stuff, and it's almost like they took. Well, I mean, they did. It's jazz and rock and roll put together, and it's 6 minutes long. But it's always interesting. It never gets boring all the way through.
And that's the kind of the big thing. They actually made it palatable. Like, you can listen to them without being in a prog mood.
Right.
Like Rush can come on and it rocks. It does cool shit. And man, I don't know. I think it would be stupid to say they gave birth to prog rock, but they definitely gave birth to the kind of prog rock that I still listen to.
They definitely widened the road.
Yeah.
Very much.
And to me, the prog rock I like is basically kind of always has one foot in the metal pool. Like I like heavier, more aggressive prog stuff. So, and when I say prog, prog means progressive. That means advanced musicians playing stuff they don't have to play. That kind of
B-52.
Yeah, just like the B-52s. You fucking asshole.
Rock lobster.
But I'm sure there was prog rock before. I know there was prog rock before Rush, but it wasn't exactly like them. They kind of canonized it.
Yeah.
And
Like Depeche Mode?
No, not Depeche Mode. You dingle nuts.
I don't know anything about music.
I do like Depeche Mode. No, we're talking about bands like Dream Theater.
What about Pink Floyd?
Pink Floyd. What is Pink Floyd, a prog band?
No, I don't think that they're progressive.
I don't think they're prog, but it's in the same vein.
Psychedelic pop group. That can't be right.
Well, let's put it this way. A lot of Rush fans are also Pink Floyd fans. There was definitely they shared a whole lot of the same audience.
I've never really listened. I'm sure I know Rush songs if I heard them.
Yeah.
But I've never really got down and listened to Rush. However, I will get down and listen to Pink Floyd for hours.
Well, Pink Floyd is more of a... it's apples and oranges. I mean, what would you say? Like, there's a difference, like...
Man, I don't know, because what sells it for me with Pink Floyd is David Gilmour.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, the Strat sound. I mean, he said one time in an interview that he didn't view his Stratocaster as a guitar; he viewed it as a tool.
Right.
And everything. He's so smooth, blues based, the whole thing. That's what sells it. Now, Rush, I don't really hear a blues inspired theme.
Me neither.
Or anything necessarily psychedelic about them either.
Yeah.
Floyd will put you in a mood.
Right.
And then Rush, I mean, they just...
I would say the difference is sort of like, when you hear Pink Floyd, you feel it.
Yeah.
You feel everything that's going on, and it immediately just hits you. It's kind of like being washed over by a wave. And you don't necessarily notice the playing, you just kind of have this experience. When you hear Rush, you've definitely noticed the playing. Like, you notice what the band is doing. They're doing so many things. It's like, I don't know, man, it's like Pink Floyd, but in a science laboratory.
Yeah.
Just imagine, like it's more mathematic.
So what you're saying is Rush couldn't do a laser show, but Pink Floyd definitely could.
I don't know. I think they've both done them.
I think that'd be a highly different.
The reason I asked
show.
this,
Right.
First of all, just it's kind of like a joke. Second of all, I heard a story once from a relative who said that back in the 70s, him and a bunch of friends used to go hiking up in North Carolina, and there was a waterfall they'd hike to, and on either side of the waterfall were these massive cave openings, and that they would set up camp in the right, one on the right. And they'd set up all their camp stuff, and they'd set up their big boom box and have Pink Floyd. And then they set a massive fire in the left one at night. And then they put on Shine On You Crazy Diamonds and watch the wall with the fire on the other side of the waterfall. So with the water, the fire, and the lights. And I was like, so you guys really fuck? He's like, you didn't need to. He was like, you didn't need to do drugs. He's like, you could drink a beer or something. But he was like, that experience, just listening to that song for 20 minutes at a time and watching the fire dance on the wall, he was like, that's why I love Pink Floyd. And I was like, all right.
Well, and I will say this, I used to watch The Wall, by Pink Floyd, and I definitely watched it in an altered state. Me and a bunch of friends used to like to do that once a year, and they would show it in the theater or something. But I had friends who did not smoke pot or take acid or anything. Or, I'm not saying that I was on those, but I'm not saying I'm not either. But they watch it too, and they go, "This is just as stunning without. This is totally stunning if you're sober."
Well, I've always thought that film was answers to life. From beginning to end. I mean, it's got a lot of moral quality there.
Yes, and it addresses psychological damage and stuff like that, and
social
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just
It's a total work of art. It doesn't matter if you're
is.
messed up or not. Like
Sorry, I didn't mean to take away from Neil Peart. But
No. Well, these are things worth discussing. Like there's a lot there, and Rush is the same way too. They're very, very heady. Like it's not just about nothing. Like it's all their songs are really about something. Like it's just crazy. But there's a lot there to discover. Kind of like with Pink Floyd, and just giving a big shout out, and especially dedication to possibly the greatest prog rock drummer ever. He inspired everybody. He played circles around everybody, and the biggest thing is he inspired people to get better. It's not enough to just play the simple, it's not enough to just play what you could get away with. Like those guys went beyond, they could have been rich playing simpler music. And they pushed themselves to get better and better and better. And it was a spectacle. And their music really is a work of art. I mean, it's really complex and it's kind of orchestrated. It's very epic, but it's also cool. It's got good riffs and just like, man, it's just an amazing 3-piece band. And just saying, if you've never listened to Rush, I think a good, probably a good starting point, if you want to check out Rush, is the album Moving Pictures. That's probably the easiest dip in the pool of Rush. And the very first 4 songs on Moving Pictures, I believe, are Tom Sawyer, Red Barchetta, which is actually my favorite Rush song, which is a phenomenal story about this kid that goes with his uncle and they're restoring this old car and they take it out and they get in a race with somebody and they almost get hurt and they get back just in time to drink by the fireside. And it's badass, man. It's so fucking badass. But so that's Red Barchetta, and then YYZ, which is an instrumental, and everybody's probably heard it. It was on Guitar Hero. It's one of my favorite pieces of instrumental music ever. Just phenomenal.
There's actually a character on the TV show The Goldbergs that's set in the 80s.
Yeah.
And there's a character in that show who is the biggest Rush fan.
Yeah.
And that's all he talks about. And so they talk about Rush a lot on that show. And this is what he looks like.
Yeah. Music nerds.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
He has a ponytail and he has a Rush shirt and he's always, he's like the bully that picks on people because they make fun of Rush. He's like, you don't make fun of Rush.
Yeah. It's that Rush fans are like that. And so are fans of Dream Theater and other popular prog bands that unite everybody in and one of my favorite bands, Thank You Scientist, is easily derivative of that kind of prog rock. So anyway, big stuff, but go check out Moving Pictures if you've not listened to a lot of Rush. If you have listened to a lot of Rush, reach out to us, let us know what your favorite. Some of my favorite Rush songs are like Cygnus X12, Spirit of Radio, Limelight. Just they did so much cool stuff.
Yeah.
And they continue to do cool stuff past that album too, like Test for Echo, and they had a bunch of neat stuff. But there's a lot there to discover, and now there's not going to be any more. The guy's gone. So go back and check it out, man. That's my little speech about Neil Peart.
Well, hey, and I think it's an awesome speech because the thing about it is, when somebody of that caliber, that musician, or any musician, they don't necessarily have to be Neil Peart, but when they pass away, it causes you to go back in retrospect and you go back through and you reconnect with the things that interested you at first, and you get into memories of where you were when this song was playing, and the kind of moods that those songs give you. I remember when Tom Petty passed away.
Yep.
I found out about it on the radio, and I was like, I started crying because Tom Petty is one of my, he's my end all be all. There's Tom Petty and then there's Butch.
Yeah.
And when Tom passed, Don't Do Me Like That, and just all of those American Girl. Mary Jane's Last Dance. That's always going to be. That video scared the shit out of me when I was
Wasn't
a
it
kid.
awesome? Was that Kim Basinger? Who was in that? Kim
Basinger.
I remember, dude, it was such a rad. I remember watching it going, dude, he's a fucking artist. He's not stopping,
Right. And then when Ginger Baker died, I went back through and I listened to Cream, and it was just trying to take a moment to appreciate, who that person was.
Right.
Even though he was a complete, total prick, he was still a fantastic
Well, so was Buddy
musician.
Rich.
Yeah.
Kim Basinger.
Bunch of great fucking musicians were dicks, And that's okay because I'm not appreciating them for their rosy disposition, I want to hear them shred. But no, I get it too. And I will say this too, man. In my social media feed for the last couple days since Neil Peart passed, it's been all positivity. It's been all gratitude. It's been all fucking people going back and remembering. And Rush had a long fucking career, so there's tons of videos, and it's not just the same thing over and over again. There's lots of stuff, and everybody's posting and remembering him, and it's this big positive thing, and nobody's fighting. Nobody's arguing about politics.
Well, you also are friends with a lot of musicians, so
True, but even they have opinions about things.
well, no,
which is
I know,
great.
but I mean, I feel like you're not seeing people fighting, but that's just because people who cared about Neil Peart are focusing on that.
Maybe you're seeing a ton of people still fighting that didn't know who he was.
Unfortunately.
Well, my kind of whole thing is even the people in your news feed have things they care about, same way that I care about Neil Peart.
It's like when Robin Williams died. Robin Williams,
yeah.
that was all my feed was, and everyone was being nice to each other.
Yeah.
And so I get it's the same thing that you're seeing. And I wish that more people would be that nice to each other without having some famous person
Just
die.
imagine if we talked about the stuff we like a little more and fought a little less, and somebody wouldn't have to die for us to get all nice, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, again, that's wishful thinking. But
Just wait until Hayao Miyazaki passes away. That motherfucker better eat his vegetables, or else I'm going to be a goddamn train wreck, because that man has been a very big influence on animation in my life. And so, I'll be super fucking nice for a really long time after something happens. I mean, he's like almost 92, so it's like, he's getting there.
Yeah, I mean, there's more to come, man. There's definitely going to be more heroes passing away. That's the thing. The older you get, you go to more funerals. You see more of your heroes die. I mean, it sucks, man. It sucks bad. And you just have to hope that they leave behind the body of work, and also appreciate that you're here now. That's huge.
Well, like when Jeff Buckley passed away, like I am a massive fan of Jeff Buckley.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I wish I had was more Jeff Buckley.
Yeah.
Like when he did the Grace record, man, I wanted more of it. But all I've got are with those 10 songs that are on there, you know? And it's like, man, he was somebody that went far beyond his time, you know, like far too soon. You know, his time wasn't up yet. And like, I appreciate him the way that I do, and it makes me appreciate even more people who do pass away that have, you know, a catalog that I can continue to go back through and find new things about. I think I've almost found out everything I can find out about Jeff Buckley.
Right.
You know? So, you know, and then with Neil passing away, I'll go back through and I'll listen to Rush over again.
Yeah.
You know, and even the songs that maybe I passed off, you know, and didn't really pay that much attention to.
Yeah.
I go back through and appreciate them a little bit more.
Well, and I didn't know when I was younger that Rush was like this band that would teach you a lot. I had no idea. And I got in this instrumental this math rock band with like my guitar teacher and some of his crazy ass friends. And they played wacky stuff. Like very rarely was there anything in 4. And I kind of had to I didn't really know what I was doing, but they wanted me to be in the band, and I was friends with them. And I was like, oh, teach me, you know, and they would always refer to Rush. Well, you know, like in Rush, when it goes like da, 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 da. And I was like, how the fuck do you count that? And they kind of taught me how to count. Right. Like the guy would point at his fingers. You guys can't see this, but he would point and he would keep going like that. And he'd go, that's in 7. That's in 6. And I was like, well, At that point, I got by just like stomping my foot. Doom, doom, doom. If it didn't fit over that, I couldn't play over it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they were like, no, we're going to play this thing and it's not in 4. And I had to kind of adapt. And I was like, how do you guys learn all this thing? Well, we listen to Rush. And I was like, Rush, isn't that? I thought Rush was kind of another Pink Floyd. Like a lot of guys that were a lot of guys that had a lava lamp that had both of their posters. See, I didn't know they were this thing.
There's black lights above their posters.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're like, no, dude, Rush is this big musical thing. And I was like, oh. But
I want to make a correction. I had to look it up. Hayao Miyazaki is only 79 years old. He was born in 41, so not 90. He's got a good while left.
Dude, Neil was only 67.
Yeah, he had brain cancer, was it?
He'd been fighting it for like 3 years.
Cancer again, dude. Jesus, man.
Dude, if it's not cancer, it's fentanyl.
Dude.
Like, I mean, that's what took Tom. It's what took Prince.
Yep.
You know?
Oh, my God.
Well, this has been eye-opening.
Go back to Donald Duck.
Don't do opiates and eat your vegetables.
That's right. That's right. You might die or you might get Donald Duck Bud.
While we still have a little time left, I want to talk about Ricky Gervais's Golden Globes.
Oh my God.
Talk about it.
And then also want to talk about Dave Chappelle's acceptance speech for the Mark Twain Award.
By the way,
so many great speeches happened this week.
I still watched the Ricky Gervais thing this morning.
Yeah.
When first thing before I got out of bed, I was like, I want to see it again.
When he makes the jokes about Afterlife TV show, he goes, oh, and just so you guys know, Afterlife season 2 starts soon, so you know the guy doesn't kill himself, just like Jeffrey Epstein. And everyone's like, oh, and he's like, oh, I get it. I know he's your friend. You don't want, and everyone got super quiet.
Yeah.
And you could tell, it was like someone made a meme. It was like you could tell who was
He said something
hanging
about
out with
like,
Jeffrey Epstein through the crowd because people weren't looking at the cameras. They were looking down.
He said they had to get there in their own plane.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I know it's rough. Had to get here in your own plane.
Yeah. I would love to see somebody's probably done this. I just haven't seen this. I'd love to see somebody do like a really forensic video of all the audience reactions to every joke to see who's like uncomfortable and who
Tom
wasn't.
Hanks was the best.
Tom Hanks looked like he didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Dude, I
He
saw
was just like,
somebody
this
say
is so rude.
Tom Hanks looked like he was going to swallow the bottom half of his head. It's just like, oh my God.
Oh, dude. But there were some people that were just cracking up, dude. Yeah. Cracking up. Oh, man. Like, there were several girls at a table in the middle, and I didn't recognize them. They were blonde, and they were just dying over the whole fucking thing.
Dude, Adam Driver was going nuts.
Adam Driver had a laugh at it. I feel like Ellen DeGeneres was tickled at it.
Dude, Ellen DeGeneres was laughing at the Dame Judi Dench joke. And I was like,
dude.
Whoa.
Dude, Chris Evans, he's sitting there. And, he started laughing because he was like, what did he say? And he said the word minge.
Minge.
And he was like,
yeah.
He was like, well, that's a great use of that word.
Dame Judi Dench said it was the best. It was the role made for her because she got to sit on her ass, lift her leg above her head, and lick her own minge.
Dude, and Gervais had to pause and go, I can't
say this joke.
And then he did the joke and he goes, who cares? It's the last time, you know. Like, it's one of the most beautifully nihilistic things I've ever seen. He did, even when he finished and he was introducing Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston or somebody. He goes,
couple of fucking actors
from TV. Here we go. And he just turns around like, God, and just walks off with his beer. I mean, he was actually fed up.
This has been the year for pedophile movies with Surviving Neverland and the R. Kelly one. It goes, and Two Popes, and it goes straight to the guy from Two Popes, and he looks so fed up with it already.
And everybody goes, woo. He goes, shut up. He just kept telling them, shut up.
Yeah, he goes, shut up.
I don't care. Well, and he touched on the Kevin Hart thing. When Kevin Hart, he dismissed himself from the Oscars because of some tweets he made.
He's like, hello.
Yeah, and he was like, 5 times, hello. You know?
Yeah. He goes, luckily the what is it, the Hollywood foreign press can't speak English.
Yeah.
Dude, a couple of years ago he did it. He's done it 5 times. One of the times he did it right after Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, which, by the way, they're forecasted to host it next time, is Tina Fey and Amy Poehler again. But he was like, during this whole thing about, you know, women should get equal pay, he was like, I just want you guys to know I'm getting paid the same as Tina and Amy got paid. And everyone just kind of stopped and like kind of snickered a little bit. He goes, it's not my fault that they wanted to split it. I'm just making what they made. Jesus.
So yeah, if you've not seen the Ricky Gervais Golden Globes 2020 opening monologue, oh man.
Oh, even just type in
it's hot.
Ricky Gervais Golden Globes and watch every time
definitely.
he's done it, he's just incinerated people. Him and Mel Gibson don't speak because he just incinerated Mel Gibson. And it's so uncomfortable.
Oh, it's great. It's so great. Dude, I tell you, a lot of comedians think they go, dude, it's the correction is starting to come back. Like everybody's everybody's so mad at how careful everything is these days and how like intellectually offensive that is.
It's coming way back. It's overcorrecting again. Like it's coming way back this way.
We're possibly about to enter the most offensive decade of our entire life.
Did you happen to watch the Kevin Hart series that's on Netflix?
Dude,
don't fuck this up.
I'm like 2 episodes in and it's super good, I think.
It's great. He's talking about like whenever they wanted him to apologize for making his comments, he was like, dude, it's a joke. He was like, I don't feel like I should have to apologize for something that I said in a joke. It doesn't necessarily mean it's how I feel about something. It's a joke.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm trying to bring levity to something. And so, Ricky
and he's a comedian.
Exactly.
I apologize for making a joke if I'm a fucking comedian. It's just like if I'm a guitar player. I'm not going to apologize because I played one lick and everyone goes, I think that was an offensive lick. I'm a guitar player.
Right. So he's got that. And then Ricky Gervais touches on it a little bit because he's got, you know, his offensive shit on his Twitter account. But then they want to fire Kevin Hart. And then Dave Chappelle addresses it in his speech at the Mark Twain,
which was get into that. Talk about that.
Man, he ends up talking about how in the future he wants people to come to an understanding that they can respect an art form, not necessarily the content, but the art form that things are said in, because it's comedy and you shouldn't take it seriously because it's jokes.
Yeah.
So like 3 different people have touched on it that I've seen in the last 2 weeks about just people's political correctness and their overreaction to people's humor.
Yeah.
It's going to come to a point where, so I feel like in the 60s, 70s time frame, when Vietnam War was real heavy.
Yeah.
60s and 70s. I don't know my history.
60s, the 60s. Or
Yeah.
kind of
So you had the hippies. And at that point, being a hippie was like a cool thing. And everybody was all anti-war. And, you know, to be hip and conform, like a conformist, you were a hippie, so to speak.
or nonconformist.
Nonconformist.
Yeah.
But in a sense, people would see hippies and then become a hippie because they wanted to be a part of that group. So wouldn't that in turn be a conformist?
Well, that's been the way ever since. That's always like that.
Right.
The people that are trying to act like they're different, it's still mob mentality, you know,
Yeah.
like.
So with that being said, I just feel like right now with the over political correctness of like the left or the right, it doesn't like this over easily offended shout until your voice is heard is just another iteration of the hippie movement. And I think in the next like 5 years, those people are going to be chastised. Like you're going to see those people just like you saw hippies in like the 80s and 90s. You'd see a hippie and be like, ugh, hippie.
Well, there's a
Fucking
difference in being
hippie.
able to joke about things and then actually not being kind. Like I could make, like we were all chumming around last night and we were just talking a lot of shit and being funny. And I'm sure some of it was probably a little rude or a little insensitive. But we didn't mean it. And if we would have seen somebody like getting beat up, we would have jumped in and stopped it. Well,
sure.
You know, there's something about that. Like I said, I've told people before, I feel like this super over careful cultural movement or whatever is like anti-intellectual. It assumes that you're not smart enough to know the difference between real right and wrong. And so it has to tell you, you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't do this, can't do that. And nobody's allowed to joke about anything. Nothing can be funny. You know what I mean? It takes all the responsibility away from you to try to be a good person and just gives you all these weird rules to try and exist in where it's not much fun to live in that world. No. You can be a good person and still have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know, like there's somewhere there's got to be like...
I just feel like right now we're going through another hippie movement.
Yeah.
It's called something different, I'm sure, but I just feel like that's in the next 5 years, you're going to see people looking at this group now that's heavily offended, and you're going to look at those people and be like, shut up. Like no one's wanting to hear that anymore. It's over. It's been done.
Well, and to play devil's advocate, I will also say this. I just acknowledge the other, there's other opinions that are not necessarily mine, but I will say like, if you're like, we're a bunch of straight white dudes.
Oh yeah. People shouldn't give a shit what we say.
Well, it's not that. I'm just saying we don't exactly know what it's like to grow up marginalized. We don't really have the experience of what it's like to have to come out to your parents, you know, like or to be a minority that just doesn't get picked for things. And I mean, again,
I don't think I'm saying that though. I'm not saying that those people.
But I mean, a lot of this stuff, or to be a woman and to be treated like your vote doesn't matter. And all I'm saying is like, a lot of that stuff, it comes from people trying to like break through and be just considered equal. All I'm saying is there is a side of this that we can kind of observe, but we can't really understand it. And so I want to, when we say like we're sick of hearing people complain about what they're mad about, like I get that there's a righteous anger. I get that there's a fucking...
I don't think I'm sick of people complaining and being angry as much as I'm sick of people who don't...
Just can't take a joke.
Can't take a joke.
That's
but then
the biggest one for me,
you also have a group of people who just want to seem cool and seem like part of the group, and so they'll just echo what someone is saying. Like you'll have a guy being like, "I'm a feminist and I hate men." You're just saying that because you want to get laid, and that makes you even fucking grosser.
That's exactly what a friend of mine said. He goes, dude, if you see guys that are jumping on all these different movements that are basically anti-men, they are just trying to get laid.
And it makes you even more gross that you do that.
I know.
Fucking stick to your guns. Be a nice person. Don't be a dick.
But a lot of people say it's amazing how much virtue signaling a guy will do if he thinks he's gonna be able to dip it.
Which it's so gross. That's so I can't stand.
Sorry if that's offensive, but
all of a sudden Todd's a vegan because he's into this hot vegan yoga chick, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I don't eat meat or cheese. You know, I'm good.
I don't think it's all right to decide."
And then next week he's like, "I'm like, hey Todd, you still a vegan? No, why not? I don't know, man. Like she wasn't the one for me." And it's like that shouldn't be the reason.
It's like that old Adam Sandler
Our
skit.
political views are a little skewed, and we didn't really work out.
I brought a tiki torch to a cookout, and she didn't think it was funny.
Like I thought she was woke, but she's not as woke as I thought she was woke.
That was probably my favorite part of the Ricky Gervais speech is when he was like
Talking about people being woke, Hollywood.
he's like woke Hollywood, or he's like, you know, If you come up, you win an award, come up, thank your agent, thank your God. No one wants to hear about your political views. No one wants to hear what you have to think about the real world. You know nothing about the real world. He's like, most of you haven't even gone to school longer than Greta Thunberg. He's like, so get up, get your award, and fuck off. And everyone just went. That's when they shot Tom Hanks' face, and he's just like eating the bottom half of it. He's like,
And what I like about it is he didn't say that none of this shit matters. He just said rich fucking actors aren't the one to like lecture you about it.
Right.
I like it, you know.
He said they don't live in the real world.
Yeah,
they
dude.
don't.
They fucking don't. They have a guy they can call for all their problems. They can call the agent. I don't like this thing.
I don't get to hop on my own jet whenever I want and fly wherever I want to be.
I'm feeling punchy today. Have someone change the color of my house, you know. Okay, we'll send somebody right over, you know.
You know what? This Tesla I bought, I like it. I'm just not a big fan of red. Bring me a black one.
So anyway, not that it's wrong to be an actor or to be rich or to be famous. Like just, you know, I don't know.
Maybe don't tell me how to live my life.
Yeah.
Maybe before you get up on a soapbox, look at your little soapbox and check it out first.
Oh,
you
my
know?
soapbox is covered in diamonds. Let me get up here and tell people how this shit rolls.
Well, guys, we're kind of getting near the end of our time. Let's see here. Brandon, you got anything going on? You're doing the second and fourth open mic nights. Are going to be doing any gigs with any stuff coming up? Any Stacked Actors gigs coming up?
Stacked Actors will be later in the year.
Yes.
It'll be March.
It's so
April,
fucking
something
good.
like that.
It's so fucking good, man.
And then let's see, February 19th. It's a Wednesday night. I'm playing Central Depot for 2 hours.
Whoa.
From 8 to 10.
That's right around the corner.
It is.
Hey,
2 or 3 weeks.
Get your asses out to that, bro.
And yeah, that as of right now, that's about it. But I'm working on set lists and stuff like that. I'm about to start going back out with the acoustic and
Awesome.
hitting a few spots.
Oh,
and
dude.
It's been too long.
You got to
know.
let us know, man. You just even if you line up some gigs, even if you can't be down here, text me.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about them on the podcast every week. We'll go, by the way, this week you can catch Brandon Hudson at ding, 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 ding. We'll just line it out.
When's the next Union Jack show you're doing?
Next Union. Those are every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Yeah, every Tuesday. Chris Marshall hosts down at
Yeah.
Union Jacks.
What time?
He starts at 7, I think. It might be 8.
7 or 8?
Yeah,
I get off
7
work
or
at
8.
11. I love Union Jacks.
And then he also does Union Place on Thursdays. And man, there's some awesome musicians that go to these things.
Right.
I mean, like if you don't catch somebody down at the open mic at Scruffy, then you'll probably catch them at Union Jacks or Union Place.
Yeah. And, dude,
And I
Union
mean,
Jacks
just
I haven't been there in a minute. Union Jacks is cool as shit.
I
oh,
love
the other
Union
place
Jacks.
is great.
It's
If
a
you don't-
shining beacon in West Knoxville bars.
Yeah, and it's a beer bar.
The
so it's,
last
like,
time we were
perfect
there
for me.
together,
Casey
it was
talked a lot of shit.
quite a shit show. It was a
Sucks to suck, nerds.
this guy fucks, man.
guy
This
fucks.
guy, he totally fucks.
Yeah, so dude, check it out. Come hang with us. Come get yourself jammed on by Brandon Hudson and fucking hang out with us and everything. Come see us at Union Jacks. Come see him at Scruffy City Hall. Come check out his gig at Central Depot, February 19th, you
Yeah.
said? Wednesday night?
That's it.
All right. That's about all. Casey?
Anything else?
Nope, I got nothing.
I'm going to say bye here so you can cut it if you want. And if you want to leave it in, I have a little joke I found on the internet the other day that's really offensive, but I kind of want to say it.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Gingers used to be like the Twin Towers. There used to be 2 of them. Now it's just kind of a sensitive subject. I wouldn't leave that in.
Oh, I'm leaving it in. Fuck you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Casey Bishop with his opinions.
That left a bad taste in my mouth.
That might have been the duck butt.
Ooh.
Oh my.